Got it.
Welcome to the Radiant Woman Unstoppable You interview series. So over the coming weeks, we will feature women that are out there with these soul-led missions to really empower other women to live, happier, healthier, more abundant and more purpose-aligned lives. And that's what I'm all about. I love helping, busy, multi-passionate women to really holistically create this radiant physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental health, and really transform their mindset and experience that clarity and that confidence in their purpose. So those of you that don't know me, my name is Belinda Hayward. I am a herbalist, nutritionist, a health coach, results coach, and creatrix transformologist. And of course, I also love the energy and the woo. So I do a bit of psychic things, energy work, and theta healing, emotion code, all the things. So I love it. I'm always on the journey, always learning, always growing and expanding. And in the third interview now, actually, of this series, I have a beautiful special guest, Sharron Eather. And Sharron is an optimal health coach who specializes in weight loss. And Sharron also is the unit manager, of a really busy hospital there in Sydney. And she's also a mentor to so many other, nurses and staff that are, coming through the system, which is such an important role. So welcome, Sharron. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thanks, Belinda.
Excellent. Good. So and I'm going to try and keep these interviews quite tight. So we'll be about 15 minutes, 20 minutes max. But I encourage you, for those of you that are watching, to, grab a tea, a coffee, some water, a notepad and pen, and of course, pop your phone on silent. Really give yourself that time and that space to just, receive what you need to receive and allow these messages to land for you in the way that you need. So Sharron, I love what you're doing in the world, and I just wanted to chat with you about this a little bit further. So tell me a little bit about what you feel that your soul-led mission is when it comes to empowering other women.
Okay, so through my own journey, and that's been now particularly on this journey that I'm on, it's been about the last 5 years.
Yep.
Has been very much about weight loss and health. I do have some health issues that could go on in later life to create some issues, diabetes being something that I'm trying to avoid, and all the complications that go with that. So in my traditional world, I see it. And so a lot of the chronic health conditions that I do see in people in the hospital, I am trying to help them avoid, doing the optimal health journey. So it was very much my own journey. And whilst doing my own journey, many others were very interested. What is it that you're doing? And I fell in love with the purpose of actually helping people to find themselves. And it's not just about weight loss.
No.
Actually, it's very little about weight loss, and it's much more about what's happening emotionally and mentally.
Exactly. And even just as you said, in that optimal health journey, it isn't just, yes, the weight loss, that's great, but it's really about the habits, like the water and the supplementation and the portions and the eating well. And as you said, when you're seeing in the orthodox system, like the medication and as we said, time and a place for everything. But when you know what you know, and the fact that, implementing some of these changes can really change the trajectory of people's lives, it's huge. So it's such an important mission. And and just on that, like, how did you come across this? Like, why is it important to you?
I was very lucky. At the beginning of my journey, I was actually introduced to you. Yes. And we've worked very closely with one another and had that very open relationship. We've chatted a lot.
Yes.
And you've helped me, from the naturopath view, side of things. And then as you have journeyed, I've been very lucky and very fortunate for you to think this would be great for Sharron and put it towards me. Always that choice, whether or not I want to or not. But I trust. So I do trust it. And so and I'm so thankful for it, because so much has changed with my limiting beliefs, with my self-talk, just with my whole attitude as well. So it's made a massive difference.
Yes. So just on your journey, so over the years, like, do you think there was any kind of like milestones or areas that kind of really stand out for you where you were like, yeah, something needs to change? Like like what would you sort of say stands out for you that really got you onto this path of optimal health and really just your journey of just like, working through things emotionally, the limiting beliefs, the blocks? Like, what would you say really stood out for you?
So the things that really stood out for me was it was very easy for me to forget me and not to prioritize my own health. And whilst, like many other women, and I'm sure men as well, but I only know women's side. So, we put our families first. And we think that by doing that, we're actually being very, selfless and, that's a good parenting role. And we forget about ourselves. And so, like every other journey I've ever done, I'll start out with me as first. And then I somehow manage to get pushed to the side and everybody else comes first again.
Yes.
And then my journey, my health journey, which I actually do because I want to spend a better life with my family and friends,
Yes.
it gets pushed to the side. And so it was actually, some issues that I'd had around family and, just getting very busy in life. And, I had a lot of people who I was helping and I forgot to help me. And so my weight that I'd lost came back on, my blood chemistry
Yeah.
had started to change again. And then I started to believe that, it can't be done for me. And so, it was at that point, and I think that I realized actually, and, my coach from my optimal health journey as well, she was like, you need to work on that. You have to go to war on that.
And that's the thing. And, as they always say, like in the airplanes, you go put your own mask on first. And it's so true because, and it's not being selfish. Like you've got it, your health, your mentally, everything. I mean, you need to have that kind of sound. You need to have that in place and be really solid in order to be there for your family and everyone else. So it really is important, that kind of prioritizing yourself and your healthcare and your mindset and, all of that. And I think you're right. It's a really good point. I mean, so many of us, particularly us women, are fantastic at overgiving to everyone else. And as we know, that also can then set up the stage for depleting yourself because you're so overextending, overgiving. And then, of course, it can almost breed, not that we necessarily want to admit it, but it does, it can breed the resentment and the frustration, all of that, because it's like, I'm doing all of this for everyone else and your tank's not necessarily being filled up. So, and then as we know, it's that, yeah, exactly. So, so it's a really important piece that you raised then. But just when it comes to some of your success stories, because I know you've worked with so many women and men, of course, but particularly women, because as you said, that's what we're talking about, and obviously being women. Tell me a few of your success stories, those stories that really just stand out for you.
So one of my biggest success stories, and I think also before I actually realized everything that I had in my hands, and because it was all very much about weight loss at that stage. So helping a lady to lose 80 kilos, she still had more to go, but we got to the 80 kilo mark, and for her it meant that it had opened up many other things for her and goals that she was able to achieve. So that was phenomenal to be able to journey with somebody on that. And then as it's actually progressed along, and I've realized that there's far more to that. We have a beautiful lady who I coach alongside with one of the other coaches, and she suffered terribly with anxiety, social anxiety, any type of anxiety, wouldn't get onto the Zooms, just wouldn't do anything, was always hiding in the background, would have to run away because it all just got too much. She is out there, she is proud, she is spreading the word now, and it's just from that continual feeding of belief into her, and that positivity, and just that she had someone to walk beside her and hold her hand through every bit of that, and getting her to the point where she could educate herself, and get those affirmations happening to get rid of her limiting self-belief. And I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And, you know, there's a third lady that just recently has actually, you know, just taken off in her own business and has just come into her own. And, you know, to actually mentor her through that. A lady that never believed that she could be, never believed that she could have an education, never believed that she could learn, never believed that she could amount to anything at all. And now that she's learned to use a computer, and she's, you know, she's leading this massive team now, and it, you know, it's just extraordinary. I'm so proud of her. So she's a little pocket rocket, and she's just full of energy and excitement, and, you know, she's helping so many people.
Oh, that's amazing. And to think that you were part of that journey, you were, you know, a key catalyst or, you know, facilitator in that. Yeah, that's amazing. And as you said, like the weight loss is great, but it's also that newfound confidence and the, you know, really then having this new sense of purpose for a lot of them. As you said, it's really about, oh, okay, now that I've done this, I want to really share this and empower other women to do the same. And it's huge. And as we said, you know, it's not just the weight, it is internally, like it's, you know, the biomarkers that are improving, you know, whether it's the, you know, the blood glucose or the inflammation and things like that. People will say that, won't they? They just feel better, like, you know, they're like less pressure on joints, and, you know, noticing a lot of other, you know, benefits with that too. So now, what is, I mean, you touched on affirmations, limiting beliefs and stuff, and, you know, being able to override that, but what would you say is one of your go-to tools or techniques or processes that, you know, you use time and time again, or you recommend for others that you could share with our viewers?
So we did a lot of breathing techniques together, and I would have to say it is actually one of the ones that I use a lot. You can grab it immediately. You know, you don't need anything else there to do it. You know, you've got the tools, and so it's actually something that I use a lot. And I find that that's actually the most, excuse me, I'm sorry. It's actually one of the most used tools, I think, that I've had out of all of it. And whilst I'm doing that, then I'm actually able to then take some opportunity to reflect. To think about, to sit with the emotion that I'm feeling and work out, actually, is that doing me any good, any justice? And if not, then I need to move that on.
Which is good, yeah. So, and with the breathing, as we know, I mean, it's great to be able to innovate that parasympathetic nervous system, get out of the fight or flight response, which so many of us are in most of our days. So anything that we know that can calm the body, amazing. So, yeah, no, thank you for that. And when you say the breath, like, do you do a particular process? Is it sort of, do you do the alternate nostril breathing, or is it like a 4-7-8 breath, or how do you typically do that?
It would be more the 4-7-8 breath. Most definitely. Most definitely. And because it's just easy.
Exactly. No, that's perfect. Excellent. So, and just when you said affirmations earlier, how do you feel with affirmations? I mean, do you, is there particular go-to affirmations that you use? Like, how do you make your affirmations work for you? Like, how do you know it's a good choice for you to be affirming that?
So the affirmations come with the I am.
Yes.
And that's the very start of it. It is believing that is already the case, that I am that person. I am what it is that I want to achieve. It's already achieved, as far as the affirmation is concerned. So that's hugely important. Not the I will be. There's not to be any question in there. It is absolutely 100%. That's what I am, and it's around whatever it is I'm feeling at the time as well, whatever the need is that I have to believe.
And sometimes, you know, it's where you identify that there is a block, or that there is a gap, or there is something there. So it's like, if you're feeling, oh, I just don't think I know enough, it's like really affirming, you know, I know more than enough, you know, I'm good enough, that sort of thing. And then, you know, and I know we've spoken about it before, the whole feeling as well, like really, because that's what's going to really bring it to you much more quickly. It's that kind of, you know, if it's for, you know, money comes to me easily and effortlessly, it's really feeling, well, what would that feel like if money was flowing to me easily and effortlessly? So it's that as well, because as we know, you can be saying, you know, I'm a money magnet, I'm amazing, but if there's nothing energetically backing it, if there's no feeling combined with it, it's you know, it's just words, you know. So yeah, excellent. So is there anything else that you'd like to share, anything else that's on your heart, anything else that's been able to, that you know you've been able to help other women with?
I think, you know, one of the things that I've definitely noticed a massive change, and that would 100% have to be around, I think, the work that we've done with, can I say it?
Yeah,
Creatrix.
Yeah.
And because you know, when we first started that Creatrix model, I had no idea even how cruel I was to myself.
Yeah.
And it was absolute cruelty, you know, in some of the things that I believed. And so, you know, just through being able to work through that and to put that away, it's completely different, like very, very different. And even if I feel something coming, I can actually just move that away really quickly now. So that was a very valuable tool. And, you know, you need to value yourself to actually just do it.
True.
And, you know, bring that into your life, because without that, I certainly wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be able to help other people with that either.
Well, that's the thing, exactly. So, you know, and I said that, I think, in another interview as well, that, you know, we're often our own harshest critic. Like the way that we talk to ourselves sometimes, we wouldn't speak to our worst enemy like that, you know. And it's like, and when you think about that energy, if we're like looking at ourselves in the mirror and we're constantly picking out our flaws and picking out what's wrong and, you know, really projecting that energy of hatred and frustration, I mean, that's not a healthy place to be. So, you know, when we talk about sort of optimal health, that's a real key part of it. It's really our self-talk, you know, how we feel about ourselves, like the energy that we project towards ourselves and about ourselves. So self-love, it always comes back to that, doesn't it? It's such an important cornerstone for really good optimal health.
Yeah, and I think that and what I've been really working with people on is it's not selfish.
No, not at all.
You know, self-love is not selfish.
No.
Self-worth is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish.
No, it's not.
It's actually the most selfless act that you can do, because if I have a daughter, I've just heard her. I have a daughter, and I know that what I was doing was reflecting in some of her behaviour, you know, how she actually saw herself. Oh, that's really unfair for me to do. That is selfish, you know. And so for me to take control of that, and for her to actually see that she can be a powerful woman, and she is enough, and she is worthy, and she has value. That you know, I think that that's one of the most powerful things I could do. And for me to have that, and also to have the resources around me that I can guide people to the right places and the right people. I think that's definitely one of the greatest gifts that I can actually offer to anybody.
And it's beautiful that you've had that awareness, because a lot of parents don't have that awareness. So the fact you've had that awareness and you've been able to flip the switch, so to speak, and then, you know, have these more, you know, positive, you know, statements and beliefs and affirmations, you know, it's huge. So, and it really models, when you really do have that self-care, that self-love, it models to other women what is, you know, that's the best way to be, you know, because other women say, oh, okay, I can see that she's doing that. And yeah, it's not selfish. It's really important to be valuing herself, looking after her health, looking after her mindset, you know, having that level of emotional intelligence, you know, all of those things. It's really important. So, yeah, no, thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely to connect. And yeah, it's amazing. As we said, I love that we're all out there, you know, empowering other women, because as we know, like, we know where we've been, we know our journey, and a lot of us have had the struggle and the hardship and the feeling not enough and all those kind of things. So, you know, it's great that we've been on this journey, learnt what we've learnt, and that we're growing and expanding, and we can, you know, really, you know, help other women to have that knowledge, that awareness, and to also be able to grow and evolve and become their best, you know, their best self, their best version of themselves. So excellent. Perfect.
And
so
we do say a lot, tell your story.
You
know, be proud to tell your story. And that's why, you know, I'm very happy to tell mine to you, is because I don't know who that's going to resonate with.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And it's just knowing that, you know, like, it's possible, like, you can make the decision now, you know, it doesn't matter where you're at in your journey. You can, at this point in time, decide, you know what, I'm worth it. I'm from this point on, I'm going to start to have better self-talk. I'm going to sort of send myself a little bit of love, you know, and start to just do, even if it's just micro shifts initially, but it's like having that awareness, making the decision and the commitment that, you know, I'm worth it. I'm going to value myself more. And I'm really going to, even as we said, it's little steps, just in terms of having a bit more water, you know, crowding out some of the, you know, the sugar and having a little more greens and doing a bit more walking each day. It's like some of these little things that, you know, start to add up and become, you know, part of that whole optimal health and well-being journey. Yeah. Excellent. So, all right. Well, thank you, Sharron. And I look forward to hearing. If you've got any details, I can always leave that in the description so people can get in contact with you if they'd like some more information, because as we know, you know, it's really important. So especially, yes, the weight loss, you know, as we know, what do they say? 68% of Australians are overweight or obese. And as we know, it's not just the weight piece, it's the whole health. So that's really important, and holistic health with that as well.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Excellent. All right. Well, much love and thank you for this. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Excellent.
Thanks,
all right. Thanks, Sharron. Bye. Bye.
Bye.